This is my wonderful Lin Classic and LK85. But today we're making coffee. Today I'm making a pour over. This is the most basic methods of all. Now, making coffee can become a real science project because there is so much to tell about coffee. However, I just want to inspire people to make their coffee experience a bit better by making coffee easy. Here we go. Now, coffee is just beans put in water, and for a pour over I prefer my beans to be a light or medium roast. And for a satisfying result I say do not ever use pre-grounded coffee. The best way to preserve coffee is in the bean. Once cracked, the bean loses its flavor pretty quickly, and I'm talking about hours here, not days. Now, for starters, set your grinder at the middle setting between fine and coarse. The best temperature for your water when you start pouring is somewhere between 90.5 to 96 degrees Celsius. No thermometer, just leave it for 30 seconds after the boil. Now, the trick to making good coffee is paying attention to the amount of beans compared to the amount of water that you use. Too little water, taste is too strong. Too much water, taste is too weak. Here's a simple trick. Measure the amount of water you want to use or measure the amount of beans that you want to use and divide or multiply by 15.5, and that's it. Beans multiplied by 15.5 will give you the amount of water to boil. Water divided by 15.5 will give you the amount of beans to grind. Now, in this video I am using 23 grams of beans. Multiplied by 15.5, this is about 356 milliliters of water, and this is exactly the amount of liquid my cup will hold, so no coffee is wasted. There is so much to say about this part of the process, but in the end you just want to pour all your water over your coffee beans. However, there's one thing I advise you to consider. When you start pouring your water, stop for a moment when all the grounds are just covered with water. Aim at the dark or dry spots when you are pouring. Then leave it for 20 to 30 seconds, especially when you use freshly roasted beans. And the reason why you want all your beans to be soaked before you move on is because at that first contact the CO2 from the roasting process is trying to escape. And that is why freshly roasted coffee will bubble up when you start pouring. This is called the bloom. If no bubbles appear, your beans were not fresh. After that, just fill up the filter until you reach the amount of water that you calculated. Just don't fill the basket more than half or 3/4. And when all the water ran through, you have made your cup of coffee. So if you want to improve on this basic recipe that I just gave you, there's a few things that you can do. Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, but I promise to keep it simple. 1. By going up or down a little bit on the number 15.5, you can adjust to your taste. Just don't overdo it. 1.5 or a maximum of 2 over or under 15.5, so 13.5 to 16.5, that is your range. Another thing you can do is to preheat the equipment. The carafe, the filter basket, your empty cup of coffee. You see, coffee is very sensitive to sudden temperature changes during the process of making coffee, so preheating your equipment definitely helps. And that's it. Enjoy your coffee, and I see you at the next one.